Join the team.
Hey team, it's McGuire Review, and we're going to take a look at Paizo Pathfinder. Now this one is a newer book that is specifically for Lost Omens Pathfinder Society Guide. So this guide is going to give you all of kind of the input, the background, the information to really build out everything for the Pathfinder Society, which you can think of the Pathfinder Society as another type of, we'll say another type of gameplay or a way to experience and explore the Galorian Pathfinder world, which is pretty awesome. It's all about exploring, reporting, and cooperating amongst the society to take on various different adventures across the Pathfinder world, which is pretty neat. There's a lot of extra stuff that's in here that you're going to find. There's gear that's specific to the Pathfinder Society. There's factions. And one of the things that I thought was the coolest was the build out and all the information of the various different Pathfinder Society lodges, which I just love that concept here. Got that rich blue opening to the book, which is pretty awesome. I don't know. Paizo does such a good job in setting up their books, their artwork, just the design of how everything is. I feel like they've really cracked it from that perspective in just how you feel when you're going through the book and how well put together these books feel. They've really done an outstanding job with product design. So you'll have your various different chapters here. You do have an introduction. You've got Pathfinder Society factions. It then goes into, after explaining all the different factions within the Pathfinder Society, it goes into those society lodges and how those factions integrate with the different lodges. So certain factions are going to be aligned with certain lodges. Those lodges are going to have different membership groups. They're going to have different enemies or people that they're not going to be aligned with. So you'll see kind of how, like if you're in a specific faction, there may be a specific lodge that you would naturally have membership to or be, in, and then there may be different lodges based on your faction that you could potentially be at arms with. And then it's going to wrap up with Pathfinder Society options. Now, your Pathfinder Society options, there is going to be a section in there where you're going to see some awesome Pathfinder gear that is specific for these Pathfinder Society setups, which is pretty cool. We'll take a look at that. So when we look at Chapter 1 here, one of the things that I want to call out is you will get kind of some newer backgrounds and things that you can pick up and integrate into your characters if you'd like to. You said Trailblazer, Translator, Spellseeker, Pathfinder Recruiter. That's pretty cool. And Archaeologist, probably one of my favorites there. And based on that background, just like any of the backgrounds in the Pathfinder character setups, you will be able to get some different things. So for instance here with the Archaeologist, you can choose 2 ability boosts. One must be Constitution or Intelligence, and one is a free ability boost. Okay, nothing really new there. We've seen that in some of the other backgrounds. And then you're trained in the Society skill and the Architecture lore skill. You gain the additional lore skill feat related to an ancient culture or the history of a culture you've studied, which is pretty cool. Having that architecture lore, there's a lot of things you can do with that. As you adventure, you come about various different buildings. There's a lot you can do from a GM perspective if one of your characters has that archaeologist background. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Then it goes into some of the history and background here. You'll find a little bit of the history of the Pathfinder Society, and then getting into all of those factions, which, there's a number. Horizon Hunters is cool. There's a number of different factions that it's going to go through and explain. And based on those factions, you're also going to see gear and various things kind of riddled throughout here, which is another thing I like that Paizo does with these books is when you're going through and you're getting, there'll be things that'll be kind of embedded in here where like all of a sudden there's like, oh, there's a new kind of class, or oh, there's a new archetype, or oh, there's some new really cool gear that's embedded in that book as you kind of go through, which they don't always, call out right on the back or the front, like, hey, you're getting this many new items of gear and this many new. So it's sort of things they kind of sprinkle and surprise throughout the book, which I always find really cool. Ooh, the psychic warding bracelet, just item number just a third level item. It's just kind of here. There's a few other different items as you're going through, various different factions. Here's Pathfinder agent feats. So here's some new feats that are kind of embedded in throughout there as well. Scrollmaster feats, and again, all part of these factions, which is it's just really cool. I love how they add all that extra new stuff in as you go through. Then we get into the lodges, which I think, again, I'll repeat, I think was one of my favorite pieces of this particular book, where you get all the lore and the background on those various lodges, that you can have these now positioned out through your world, and characters can come about these lodges, and maybe some of the people that you're playing with are excited about a certain lodge you're going to be going up into and exploring, because that may be something they're directly aligned with, or maybe not here. So you'll see in here that you have for the Exalted Lodge, for example. Exalted Lodge location is in Razmirin. Your captain is Narsen. Your key members, Ladi Mayar, and then your allies, it will say here, the Razmirian priesthood. Your enemies, it's got 3 different enemies groups it lists out. And then assets and services, which I thought was really cool, that each one of these lodges has specifically different assets and services that they offer, which is something pretty cool. They could have stopped with the whole, this is kind of the faction in the group that's really kind of aligned with these lodges for the most part. Here are the people that, are enemies of this particular lodge. However, they went one step further and they customized each lodge to have specific types of services. So, for instance, the Exalted Lodge here has lodging. It has religious indoctrination. It has repairs, supplies, and transportation. So that's one thing that you can share with the players, and then once they come upon this lodge, then they'll make those notes, and they'll know, at any point in time in adventures, it's like, oh, we're not too far from the Exalted Lodge, and we need repairs and potentially transportation of some things we've acquired. Maybe the Exalted Lodge could help us, then we could work with them on that. That's one thing that's pretty cool. I'll look here at the Ferry Lodge, their assets. We'll go right to that. Just to show that there are some things that will be the same and there are some things that will be very different. So cold weather survival training you can find there. You can find translations. You can find linguistics. You can find lodging. Pathfinder sign training. It's kind of cool. You can find sled dogs if you need that. Go into an icy region, you need to move yourself and or supplies quicker. Supplies and transportation. So you can see their supplies and transportation is the same. A number of them will have supplies and transportation, but that they'll have some very, very specific, unique things as well. So I really like that one. The Lantern Lodge is cool. Lantern Lodge has got antiques, negotiators, and translation services. So no transportation there. But then translation services, we also saw that one in our Ferry Lodge as well. But translation services that will probably be a little bit different as far as the type of languages that it's going to be translating. So there will be differences there as well. All right, and then here to kind of round out the end of the book, you do have your Pathfinder Society options. We're going to get into a little bit of items that are specific for Pathfinder Society. One of the things I really liked here was the little familiar satchel, which I thought was pretty cool. The glass cutter, the grappling arrow. There's a number of different things that you'll find that will be new, or if it's not something that's specifically new, like there is a grappling arrow that's part of. It has a different name, but there's a number of new services as well as magic items that you can find. And then there's Academy instructors. These are various different spells and things that you can pick up that come specifically from Academy instructors within the Pathfinder Society, where you wouldn't normally be able to get these unless you went to those instructors and you were trained in and learned some of these other types of feats and spells and different things that you can pick up, which is a pretty cool concept as well. Secrets of the Pathfinder Society. So here there's some different types of Aeon Stones and Elemental Wayfinders. There's different types of Wayfinders outside of the standard Wayfinder that you can pick up, which is another really cool thing. There's a lot of awesome things in here that jump out to me. I play a Ranger primarily in Pathfinder. my ranger, Silik and Bear. He does have a wayfinder that he carries and a number of different Aeon stones. Being a ranger and kind of an inventor, he can make snares and all kinds of cool stuff. So these elemental wayfinders jump out to me. That's pretty cool concept that I'm interested in. And then you'll end with a nice glossary and index. So that's the entire book, what you're going to find there with Pathfinder Society Guide, Lost Omens edition. If you are interested in this, I do recommend picking it up. It's not something that is completely necessary in any way, but it does allow you to kind of build out that lore and understand the Pathfinder Society part of Pathfinder and get some extra little trinkets and customized things that are just from the Pathfinder Society as well. Okay? So hit that like, click subscribe below to join the team. Keep rolling them crits. This has been the McGuire Review, and I'll see you next time.